Hello everyone, I'm Julie Heinrich, Marketing and New Business Development Manager for CTSI, and I'm back here on another beautiful day for our YouTube series, All About It, or All About IT. It's really however you want to look at it. I'm joined today by Dan Odom. He's the President and Chief Executive Officer at Western Bank, and we're going to be talking to him today about all about IT, the industry, banking, and just hear a little bit more about Dan. So Dan, welcome to the series.
Thanks for having me, Julie. Glad to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay, tell us a little bit just about your background.
Background from where? From
all the way from the little baby on.
Born in Amarillo, Texas. Yeah. No.
Okay.
Started in Groover, Texas, town of about 1,000 people. It's north of Amarillo, 90 miles. Came to Texas Tech in 2000. So you can imagine we graduated with 30 students there, and then coming to Texas Tech with 30,000 students, a little bit of a eye opener for a small panhandle kid that likes to be out and about. So very exciting, but came here, graduated in 2004 with a marketing degree from Texas Tech University, and moved to Amarillo for 1 year, worked as a credit analyst at a bank up there, moved back to Lubbock, and worked at a bank there for about 6 months, or here in Lubbock as we are here today. Yeah. For about 6 months at a bank here, and then went to work for the Department of Banking. Left the Department of Banking, went to Western Bank, and that's where the story started, yeah.
Very nice. Great. Well, tell us about Western Bank. Any fun facts, anything that you like people to know besides the fact that y'all are bank?
Fun facts about Western. It's a great place to work. We have a great culture. The best staff in Texas is what I like to tell everyone. We're spread over 440 miles across West Texas. So we go from Brownwood, Texas, which is about 3.5 hours south of Lubbock, where we're at today at our headquarters, to Groover, Texas, which is 3.5 hours north. So it's 440 miles, and we have 9 locations across that span and over 150 employees. So a lot of people don't realize that. You go to Groover and you're 15 miles south of Oklahoma border, another 15 miles and you're in Kansas roughly. So you're almost to Canada. Then you get all the way down the hill country in the Brownwood. So we spread a really big swath across Texas and a lot of communities that we serve. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, tell me a little bit more about all that and how that kind of came about.
We started in 2012. At the end of 2012 is when our family acquired the bank. 2013 basically is when we started. So January of 13, we were 170 million in assets, 30 employees. We started growing. We had first 3 years, we had a lot of asset quality issues that we had acquired when we acquired the bank. One of the reasons that we were able to acquire it, they didn't have succession. So me at 30 years old was like, hey, I could be your succession. The family had been in banking. I'm a 5th generation banker. The family had Groover State Bank. My granddad bought that, wholly controlled, in 1982, the year I was born. My grandparents both passed away. Our grandparents, because I have 2 cousins as well that work with us. They passed away in 2009, 2010, and left Groover State Bank to, my mom was the oldest of the 4 children they had. There's 3 uncles, John, Mark, and Clint. Left that to them, and then the 10 grandchildren. And so we had that foundation. We, we're in banking, grew up in it. Our chief lending officer likes to make the joke that I was born in the bank. So it is somewhat there. We were always up there running around, playing. It was kind of our playground, go see our granddad and our family that was there. And so we grew up with the community, that in mind, dealing with those folks, going to the churches, going to community events. And basically, that was our foundation from the start. And so fast forward to 2012, we had the opportunity to acquire Western. We did. We were at my cousin's graduation down at vet school in College Station. We might have had a few too many drinks at the Dixie Chicken for him, celebrating, though, of course, an Aggie. I mean,
of course.
Tough for those Aggies to get those degrees. Well, we were really proud of that, him becoming a veterinarian. So we were down there talking, and the next morning, my uncle was like, hey, are we serious about trying to acquire this bank? That's where it all started, over some pitchers of beer in Aggie land. And so 2013, we had 30 employees. We had Brownwood, Abilene, Lorain, Coahoma, Big Spring, and 1 location here in Lubbock. We moved the headquarters to Lubbock. We focused on the asset quality issues that I mentioned earlier. That was kind of our first ditch effort to get those things corrected and take off. 2016, we hired my gentleman as our market president, Randy Jordan. He had hired me formerly at a previous bank, and he had retired, turned 65. I've got curly hair, he had gray hair. So we brought Randy in. He just became Business Person of the Year with the Lubbock Chamber. Nice. Had a lot of connections. Great move on our part to bring him in and connect us into the Lubbock community and do those type things. Because at the time, this Lubbock location had the 1 location, probably had maybe $10 million in deposits and, $3 or $4 million in loans. So it was a small branch, and West Texas obviously is a big area. Lubbock, a lot of competition. And so we were one person out there, and myself and Chris Sharp. And so we hired Randy, we hired John Weddigy, who's now our Lubbock president. I'd gone to school with him at Texas Tech. And so we had that connection. John had moved back from Austin, worked at a bank here, and he had a lot of connections being from Lubbock, Texas. So we brought him on. Then we brought on Chris Koch, who's now our chief lending officer. Chris and I go back to when I was in college. I worked for him at First Convenience Bank in the Walmart there on 66 and Quaker.
Okay.
A lot of fun facts and experiences there as well, as you can imagine working in there. That was a great deal though. That connection I made with Chris got me the job at the Department of Banking. Fast forward to 2016, Chris was looking to get out of the bank he was at, so he came over as well. Then we hired Roger Corral. And those 4 individuals, they didn't know where we were going to office them, because out at 82nd, all the offices were full, and we had our HR director sitting down at a picnic table in the basement. We had Megan, who's our marketing lady. She was sitting at our dining room table that I'd grown up on in Groover. And so I was just kind of cramming sardines in everywhere. And they were like, where are we going? So we opened up an LPO, a loan production office in downtown Lubbock, across from the Pioneer Hotel building. And those 3 individuals, that's where they started. And I bought the building on 1617 Broadway, across from the Cotton Court now. And that's kind of our headquarters, our campus. Not kind of, it is our headquarters. But it's our campus. We have loan operations, deposit operations, our HR, accounting, finance, and all of the individuals there, as we've bought some buildings around us over this time period. We're up to now 150 employees. We've expanded into the Amarillo market. In 2019, we brought Groover in under our umbrella, and instead of running 2 sister banks, combined it into one. The family still owns the control of the entire bank. From there, opened up Amarillo in 2021, then Plainview in 2022, opened our 117th and Slide location in 2023. 2024, opened a mortgage company and treasury as well out on 117th and Slide. And now we're up over 150 employees and just shy of $1 billion in total assets. So it's been a crazy 13 years. My daughter's about to turn 13, so she was there. One of our board meetings. She was born in May of 2013. Got the phone call that my wife was going to labor, so I had to get up and leave. That was a fun fact.
Right.
So now I can keep track of how long we've had the Western Bank. So
there you go.
Very good, guys. Go back to my daughter's age.
Yeah, perfect. So, okay, with being a bank and a financial entity, I know there's probably some regulations and things that you guys have to adhere to. How does technology help you, meet those?
It's really, you go to, most industries, there's tons of regulations, hospitals, banks don't have any at all. It's, we just kind of willy-nilly. No.
Right.
We, Dodd-Frank, I think it was 2018 came out, a stack of paper this much. We're regulated from, the days that we can be open, the days that we're closed, to the hours that we work, to, how much cash is in the vault. Every single thing. We have over, probably 200 policies and procedures and processes that we have to approve annually or on a monthly basis. Every department, when I say overregulated, I don't think it's overregulated. The regulations are there for a good reason, but there's a lot of scrutiny, and it's for good reason. People are trusting us with their money and those type of things, so there has to be, checks and balances. IT, I started as a bank examiner in 2006. IT was, a new thing coming on where everything was rolling into it wasn't a new thing coming on, but getting a lot more traction. So the Department of Banking, the FDIC, the OCC, those are all federal regulators, Federal Reserve, started focusing more on IT. And we would go as a safety and soundness examiner, get training in Washington, D.C. on information technology and start rolling those things out. And so the scrutiny on that alone with people hacking into our systems and trying to get that information and everything else, just more and more and more, and firewall setup and these type things and everything else. And so we focus a lot on it, and that's where our partnership really began with CTSI, as when, not began with that, but having a backup, having a succession plan, and those type things that we had a partner there that could step in and do it. Myself and our CFO, Brody, were running the show when we first started. There's our dog. But we, bring them in here.
Someone can.
Yeah, but we, that was us, the IT guys. We had an IT gentleman, and it's difficult in the banking industry because generally in information technology, or our chief information officer, they didn't work as a teller in the bank. They didn't work as a loan officer. They don't understand the functions of how our users have to use, our employees being the users, use the functions and functionality where they're saying, hey, here's an update on the system, here's this, this, and this, and how that all has to work out to the end user, which is our customer, and how it benefits them. So 2015 is probably when we started with CTSI. It's been a great partnership.
Well, thank you. We've enjoyed it as well and really appreciate it.
I thought you were here to fire me. I'm glad. Okay.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I just wanted to bring you here today to had some bad news. So, are there anything? I mean, I'm sure that there's a lot of things that can be concerning, but from the IT, anything that is majorly concerning as far as cybersecurity is never going away. I know there's a bit of an exhaustion there from that topic. But is that something that you think about, and do you feel better and I guess more protected, or is that still something that just kind of?
No, cybersecurity. I mean, it's a huge. You hear daily. You get a letter in the mail from some company that's been breached, and the last thing, knock on wood, if it was somewhere around here that I could knock on, that we want to do is have to send out letters to all of our customers saying we had a cybersecurity incident. And so it's a huge focal point on ours. We have monthly orientations with all of our new employees. We have monthly meetings with everyone, and they hear me over and over talk about, do not click on this thing, never put your information in, that's the only way to get breached. You're going to put your Windows password in, and that's the only time you're going to do that, and everything else. So we hammer on cybersecurity and doing those type of things. And it takes one click of one email and the phishing, and they've gotten so good at it. You used to could read the email and be like, oh, they misspelled 15 different words and those type of things. Now there's sending emails or spoofing my account, sending out to one, and right. one of the biggest ones is, Dan Odom sends out an email to all users and says, hey, you could click on this and do the survey real quick and you'll get a free t-shirt. You won't, how many people failed that one?
Yeah.
Like, come on, guys, I'm not giving away free t-shirts.
Right.
So.
Well, I'm glad that you take it very seriously. I'm not saying that other people don't, but sometimes in organizations, I think there's a little bit of hesitancy, or maybe kind of that we're too small for that, it's not going to happen. And so I like that you have that monthly orientation where you make sure that it is important. People are looking at that and they're understanding what the policies are. And that's something that, I think is very important for organizations all over. Okay, well, to just wrap up, is there anything that you're looking forward to? I know the big hot topic is AI and everything like that. Do you find that that's something that you're looking forward to or a little bit concerned about? Just kind of what are your thoughts on that for the banking industry?
I would say more concerned. The promises out there is like it's going to save jobs, it's going to be more efficient. You're going to be able to do away with some back office folks and those type of things. And so the pressure of that is more so from a family-owned company and employing folks and doing those type of things. We're not looking at trying to do away with jobs. If it makes us more efficient, those things are great. But we have a niece that's at University of Horns Down, and she hears all the time that, hey, this is, the workforce is going to be different because AI is going to replace these jobs and those type of folks. I had lunch with a gentleman that's at Ole Miss, and he's a freshman there, and I asked him, I said, is there any other questions you have for us that you want to talk about, you want to get into banking and everything else? And he said they're impossible. He said, nope, I don't have anything. And we got ready to close out the check, and then he's, actually, I do have one question. Is AI going to do away with all the jobs and everything else? I'm like, are you serious? Why are we brainwashing the children with this? Because at some point, the technology's out there, it's a good thing as well, but someone has to check that information that's going in and coming out. And so we're still going to have folks, we're not just going to rely on an algorithm that's, said 2 + 2 is 5. It's like, that's not right. So someone's going to have to check it and do those type of things. And there's a place for it, but we're not jumping feet first into this or anything like that. We're kind of still sitting back on the sidelines and watching.
Yep. Definitely understand. And I think that's a very healthy approach to it. At CTSI, we're kind of in the same as far as like we want to make it efficient and help businesses, but at the same time, you have to be a little bit cognizant of some of the risks that could be, that could come up from that, and just, what is the long-term impact. And so it's kind of, rather than just going both feet in, you kind of just figure out like what maybe could work and go from there. And so I think that's definitely a very healthy mindset to have. But other than that, that's really kind of the main stuff for the IT industry as it sits today. Is there anything else you want to say before we wrap up?
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
Perfect. Well, thank you. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us again. Appreciate each and every one of you. Don't forget to subscribe. If you have anything that you in particular want us to talk about or want us to cover, please feel free to comment below and let us know. And with that, we will wrap and see you guys next time. I'm Julie Heinrich, and I'm all about it.